He's running! Hey! He's running! Hey, grab him! Dispatch, we're in pursuit of a suspect.
And they have to resort to telling truths, Tommy Rich, talking about my mother, talking about where I came from. You want to give a history lesson? I'll give you a history lesson. Kelly Wolf, Wolfie D, he's all the same person. When you talk about Kelly Wolf's mother, you're talking about Wolfie D.
Dispatch! Get away!
And here we go, the original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color, gon' rush your mother, utilize a hubcap, I'm like any other. Back in the day, I was NOD, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are without me name dropping wrestling's first white boy coming out.
The domination rap. I did all that shit, and they still want the 2 and not just the 1. But I'm telling you, this one made the fucking team.
It makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking. There is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more force than OEM or later. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You take a step to the side unless you want to get dropped.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first edition of Wednesdays with Wolfie. Great to be here. What an opportunity Monty and the Pharaoh have given me. What a platform they've given me to share stories, talk about myself. We'll have some guests on here too, probably. But this being the first edition, I had no idea. I said, Monty, what do you want me to talk about? I've got a podcast. I've talked about all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be podcast 2.0, now that you can see me. But I'm going to do a lot of the same things, maybe repeat some stories for those of you that have been listening to the podcast. But what I did also was I reached out earlier this week to you guys, and I posted, hey, send me some questions that I can answer on there for some content. And it blew up. I mean, I am not going to be able to get to all these questions in this hour, but I picked out some that I thought would lead to some good stories and things like that. I hope you all like my set. I plan on improving it over time, but this is a piece of art, and I cannot for the life of me remember his last name, but I know his name is Scott, and he worked for TNA. He did a lot of their artwork there. And this was from the big event a few weeks ago. Me and Ron Simmons, Farouk, hit your knees and start praying. I hadn't seen him, I want to say it's been since '97 in WWEF. But it was great seeing him, man. Love that guy. Got the monitor up here. Like I said, we might have some guests sometimes and we can talk to them through this. I'm going to try to set all that stuff up. I got my wolf goblet right here. And my Cyberpunk fire mask on a mannequin head. Al Snow may have head, but I get fire head. Fire ass head. That's right. So this might be my co-host. I don't know. We'll set him up here. We might talk to him every once in a while. Old fire-headed. All right, and I bet you're wondering what this is. Why, Wolfie? Why would you have a bell sitting on your desk there? Well, that's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a very pleasant surprise once I ring that bell, because I get service from this bell, but it's going to benefit you as well. So the big event a few weeks ago was actually what brought this on. Got to see a lot of people. That place was packed. It was crazy. It was a huge turnout. But got to see some of the guys that I haven't seen in years. Meet some, and there's such incredible fans in that area. They know more about me than I do. They were bringing me things to sign that I had never seen before. I didn't know existed. And I'm like, yeah, I'll sign it, but I want it. Give it to me. But I signed all that stuff for the people. And then I did an interview with Monty and the Pharaoh. What a show they have. Nice setup, nice production, very cool guys. And from that interview stemmed this. After it was over, Monty was blown away by the feedback that my interview got, and he asked me to do this. And I said some things on there that actually blew up and was all over the wrestling websites and all this. And the main one was my comments saying the headlines were ex-WWE superstar claims John Cena ripped off his gimmick. Well, I did say that, and I mean that. Now, John himself did not do it. It was the company. It was Vince and them. They've always liked that gimmick. And I, as I told them, was the first person to ever do it. In '92, I became Wolfie D wearing shorts, saggy shorts with tennis shoes, and was a little thug white boy. Now, somebody, I read some of the comments on some of the pages. Somebody said something about, oh, Wolfie invented rapping. No, fucker, I didn't invent rapping, but I did invent the fact that I was a thug white boy that rapped. There was never a thug white boy that rapped in wrestling before me. If I'm mistaken, please somebody message me and tell me. But at any rate, was the first one to do it. Absolutely. Do I have anything against him personally? No. He made $1 bazillion with my gimmick. But, that's the business, man. People, as a kid, I didn't like Demolition. Why? Because they were the Road Warrior ripoffs. Vince couldn't have the Road Warriors, so he made his own Road Warriors. Which to me, I never could get into them because of that. But like I said, that's just the wrestling business. I'm gonna let you guys be the judge. I got a few pictures here. So as I said, I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying he's better. But you take a look at that guy right there. Okay? The look. The Raiders hat. Look. Yankee jersey. There's Cena. Looks a lot. They could be tag team partners. Cleveland jersey. I had a Bulls jersey that I used to wear all the time. And a Michael Jordan jersey. Titans jersey. Man, it sure looks a lot alike to me. He's even got a chain around his neck with some round thing. I'm not sure what that was, but I wore a chain around my neck with a hubcap, a round thing on it. So anyway, there's a lot of similarities there. And this is not to say, again, that I'm better or whatever. He obviously had the machine behind him. And that's where I think some people did. And like I said, I'm just trying to say I was the first. Maybe, your opinion is who is better, who did it better. That's purely your opinion. I have my opinion about that. But he had the machine behind him. You got Vince pushing you to the moon. You can record a hella rap song. You can do the things that he was able to do because he had the machine behind him. And more power to him. That's his gimmick. More power to him, man. I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking the guy. I just made a statement that I was first. So we're going to get on to some of these questions here. So Bill Littlewood asked, these all come from Facebook. If you want to ask a question, go to my Wolfie D page. Now there's two of them because I couldn't get into the old one. So this one's new. Like both of them, just so you get the right one. And inbox me questions. I'll do this every week. I may not spend the whole show on it. Like I said, first episode, there's some kinks I'm gonna have to work out and figure out exactly what I want to do on here. And I do have some really good ideas about some things that I want to do. So I hope you all will stay tuned, especially this episode, because I ain't ringing that bell yet. But stay with me here. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. So he says, the spot outside where Eddie Gilbert hit Lawler with the car and drove off. Looking back, what was Jerry thinking? What could have gone terribly wrong, and both Lawler and Eddie were lucky that it went as smoothly as it did. mean, yeah, that was a hell of a bump. That was just stuntman shit there. And Lawler's done stuff like that before. If you recall, he did, Joe LeDuc picked him up over his head and threw him out of the ring, over the top rope, and across. I mean, that's a good, probably maybe 10 foot from the ring to where the barricade, well, the table where Lance and whoever else was there ringing the bell or whatever that night. It usually wasn't Dave at the Memphis Live, or excuse me, at the Coliseum events. But LeDuc threw him over there, and that table, my gosh. If you look up PG-13 versus the Rock and Roll Express Texas Death Match on YouTube, that table is thick, and it is not gonna break. I DDT'd Ricky Morton on it twice, and then it was like brand new still. But that thing is thick, and that table's been there forever. But Lawler caught that table with half his body. So in other words, he landed on his stomach, but with one leg on top of the table, one arm on top of the table. And I believe it did something, I can't remember exactly the injury, but it was something to do with, like, I believe like the arteries or the veins in his leg, inside of his thigh, and bruised it all up real good. But it's going back to the car, I don't know whether he got hurt on that. I would say he probably at least had some bumps and bruises on him, but again, that's just stunt work, and that's kind of what we do. I wish I would have been there for that, but that was before me. So I hope that answers your question, Bill. Lawler's the best, man. He does great stuff. Always has. Best punches in the business. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so Jerry Yashinsky says, Wolf, what was your worst bump you ever received? Oh, Lord, there's been so many. Well, in TNA, what comes to mind first? New Jack was on the table, on the floor, and we were into the crowd. So he went up the bleachers, or up the steps that lead up to the second level at the National Fairgrounds, and got on the railing, stood up on the railing, which he had to have been from my body, so I'm on a table, from my chest to his feet had to be 15, 20 foot, something like that, because he was way up there. And New Jack was not a small dude, you know, he's probably 250, maybe a little more at that point in time. And he jumped and dropped the elbow on me. It about knocked me out. As a matter of fact, I think that did knock me out for a quick second. But anyway, that was, you know, and I've been put through tables before, but that was brutal. That was a brutal one. And then I'll tell you another one that comes to mind, and this screwed me up for a long time, and I think I'm still having effects from it, because I do need hip surgery. I have a torn labor in my hip, which is causing me problems walking around. Bull Payne suplexed me on the floor one night, and there was no padding. That was before padding, and it was concrete, and it hurt really bad. Suplex on the floor is probably one of the worst bumps I've ever taken in my life. And another one that comes to mind, I kind of jotted down some notes here. Another one is, I did an independent show in Chicago, back then, an outlaw show, because that's what it was called then. It was in Chicago, and the guy that I worked on was going to do my sit-out power bomb on it, right? I go to give him pick him up, well, he comes up like a pile driver and then tries to do a sit-up instead of just tucking and helping me up. So when that happened, it kind of threw me off balance, but I had him, and the canvas was a little bit loose. So my foot got hooked when I tried to do the sit out. My right foot got hooked and didn't come up. Well, this left one was already up, and I was jumping. So then, you know, the wobble and I end up landing in like a hurdler position. This leg out like this one back this way. and the guy landed when I was trying to set him down, trying to slam him for the powerbomb, landed on my leg, and the inside of my ankle all the way up to my knee was purple. And here I was at the, like I said, I didn't go to the hospital that night. I was gonna wait till I got home to Nashville. And I was walking through the airport that morning, literally could hardly put any weight on it, putting my hands on the walls. I know people thought, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? And so I'm walking with my hands on the walls when the plane lands. Wouldn't you know it, when I get to Nashville, I promise you, we parked at the absolute farthest gate from baggage claim. Absolutely, it was. This is serious business. So I hobbled through there. Finally got back and went to like a walk-in clinic, and the doctor came in, and I swear his words were, "Oh man." So when the doctor comes in and says that, that's not good. He said you'd have been better off if you broke it. Dang. So those were some of the worst bumps I've ever taken. Parched. All right. So Jason Fields, he wants to hear road stories about that rusty. He put 1984. I want to think it was a 77 or 76 Thunderbird. So it used to have blowouts all the time because we would get the retreaded tires, and doing all those miles, it would blow up. We'd have to get another one. And we did get fired by Jerry Jarrett the first time he fired us for being late all the time, and then, not showing up, I think, once because of that. But yes, that Thunderbird had a rusty roof, and when it rained on the passenger, okay? And it had bucket seats, so I had to scoot over, because Jamie usually drove. I had to scoot over and sit right next to him, going down the road, like a little couple. So, cop pulls us over one time, and he walks up to the car, and the first thing he said, he leaned down, studying the roof, and he leaned down, and he said, "Does it rain in this hunk of shit?" And Jamie said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it does." So he said, we were speeding, the whole spiel, why are you going that fast, whatever. So Jamie's like, we're wrestling in Memphis, in a hurry, running a little bit late, something like that. And he said, "So you're wrestlers, huh?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I heard you guys only make $40 fucking dollars." And this guy, now he was a big guy with the crew cut, looked very military, so yes, he was using, cuss words and stuff. And Jamie said, he said it, as a sympathy card to get out of this ticket. He agreed with him. He said, "Yeah, that's right, we do." When in actuality, see, people have a misconception on that. A lot of people, "Oh, I heard the Memphis guys only make $40 a night." That's not true. That's not true. That was the minimum that you would make. And yes, sometimes if you were on a shit show somewhere, particularly a Buddy Wayne show, it would be a horrible house. And yes, you'd get $40 fucking dollars for it. But Nashville, Louisville, Memphis, those were different stories, especially for us once we got a big push. Speaking of Buddy Wayne, I can tell you another good one. So, Buddy hated us. Buddy Wayne hated PG-13. I remember he told me that my knees looked horrible. "Don't do that side knee. You got to do them like this." And I do the one, and it's not a move that I even kept really, but grabbing the turnbuckles while they're in it and turning to the side and driving my side of my thigh into their stomach and do it really fast. Well, Buddy said, "Don't throw that side knee. that's how you throw a knee. He wants to do this, the inside of your thigh and into the stomach, which I didn't like the way it looked. I thought mine looked better. But that was the one. But then he is a Friday night. We're the tag team champions, USWA. And we're working a show for Buddy when we get there. And there was two guys, one of them, and I don't remember their names, one of them was a WWE developmental guy, WWF, I think, still at the time. And he was an Olympic bobsledder. I can't remember the guy's name. And then there was another guy named Max Muscle, big motherfucker. And, you know, the bobsledder was okay. The other guy, you know, usually when you get these big muscle heads that are being paid by them, they're recruited to wrestle. They're usually fucking terrible and hard to work with. And so anyway, Buddy comes to us and he says, okay, tonight I want y'all to do blah, 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 blah. And he's going to get a chain and he's going to wrap it around his hand and he's going to hit you and you're going to go down 1, 2, 3. We got the belts and he's trying to rebook the territory. You're not the booker, buddy. So, you know, that's going through our heads. We don't say anything at first. You know, me and Jamie just kind of look at each other. So we walk, you know, we didn't say anything. It was kind of, okay. And so me and Jamie get back over in the dressing room and we're like, is he ribbing? You know, what the fuck? And I said, we can't do that, man. I said, we can't show up at TV in the morning having lost the belts here in bumfuck Mississippi. You know, we can't do that. So Jamie says, well, I'm gonna go tell him. And we come up to Buddy and see Buddy ran his own concessions. And, you know, he's one of those promoters, runs his own concessions, and kind of like Bert used to do. Bert Prince, for those of you who don't know who that is. He had 2 things of popcorn, one in each hand. And he goes up to him and he says, buddy, was you serious about that? Why, yeah. And Jamie said, well, we can't do that, buddy. We can't go to TV in the morning and having given the belts away at this show, this garbage ass show. And he said, Jamie, now, do you really believe that these people are going to believe that you two can beat these guys? Jamie said, well, fuck, buddy, I don't know, but I tell you what they will believe is that we ain't going to be here tonight. And Jamie grabbed our shit and walked out. But as he saw us walking out the door, the 2 popcorn things, this is classic, a lot of the boys know this line. He took his popcorn and he slammed it on the ground. At the same time, he said, what goddamn prima donna son of a bitches. Classic. Oh, me. But yeah, the Thunderbird, man, it made it some miles and it finally died on us. And by that time, me and Jamie were riding separately, usually anyway. We didn't get along sometimes. We'll get into that sometime. You know, I'm really pissed at him right now because of what happened at the big event. I'm not speaking to him and have no plans on speaking to him. I'll continue that in a minute. It is time. It is time for you to find out exactly what this bell is for. This is a service bell, and I need some more water. Hold on to your horses. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you my girlfriend, Miss Diamond Sparkles. Hi, baby.
You're thirsty.
I am thirsty. Would you mind refilling my water for me? Thank you so much. I told y'all that you were gonna love this bell. Thank you, darling.
You're welcome, baby.
I told y'all were gonna like this bell. This bell is called the booty bell. Because as I get my service, you guys get to look at booty. So that's the booty bell. That's why I didn't want to tell you at the beginning, because you wouldn't have understood, but now you get it. The booty bell. Let me know. I need your feedback. What do you think about the booty bell? Do you like the booty bell? Do you want more booty bell? I mean, because I could ring this thing all day long if you really want me to. But I prefer to talk. All right, so yeah, back to Jamie. So Jamie takes this bookings really, because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I had 2 gigs per day during that big event weekend. He took this booking months ago. We've talked more in the past couple of months than we have in a long time. We've got some pint-sized all-stars from Pro Wrestling Loot they're made, but they're coming from China, so they might get here before I die. I don't know. But that's going on. We got some other things that we were working on that we were trying to get for the big event. Those figures, but that didn't happen. So at any rate, he tells me, you know, I'm going. It's my anniversary. I'm gonna take my wife to Gatlinburg. We're gonna go to the mountains a few days before, and I had already known that he was not flying. He was driving. So the day that I get there, he stops answering anything, my text, everything, and then I find out that Eric Sims who booked us and took great care of me, by the way, great care of me. Thank you, Eric. So Eric had sent him some money because Jamie said he needed a rent-a-car. So he basically fronted him some of his payoff for that. No Jamie. He won't answer me. And just the things that I've seen, he did return one text after, it was like on Sunday, so 3 days in, and said, well, it got me more publicity, no showing than it did. And that just shows you where his fucking brain is these days, because that's not fucking good. You know, there's an old saying, any publicity is good publicity, but that's not fucking true anymore. It's really not. So anyway, and I don't want to even talk about it no more, because I don't want him to get recognition from my fucking show. There's that. All right, let's see here. Next question is, do you feel that the new church could have had a longer run in TNA? Absolutely. We were getting over. We were over. As heels, we were good. We had the TNA tag team titles, and then it turned into a thing. You know, first it was America's Most Wanted. Great matches with them. I actually trained James Storm for those of you that don't know that. Great matches with those guys. Then it got into, you know, the ECW guys. Me and Brian working the ECW guys. Then it was Raven, CM Punk, and Julio De Niro working me, Brian, and Shane Douglas. I mean, really good stuff in TNA. I loved my TNA run. Vince Russo came in, and that's about the time when, you know, the people started, we were heels, but the people would chant, evil, evil. So it was like, we're trying to be heels, but then they switched us babyface eventually. But then, I don't know, Russo, the old line of, we just don't know what to do with you. And I fucking hate that, because when somebody says that just means you don't know how to do your fucking job. Because it is your job to come up with something to fucking do with us. You got somebody that's over, you're supposed to come up with something. So that's a bullshit fucking answer. And I hate that. But absolutely, Brian Glover, yes, it absolutely should have been a longer run. We should have, and I got, I don't know that I had heat, but they owed me money, and I did not let that slide. It was only a few $1,000s, but when my contract was up, they owed me money. That's when they went to Orlando, and it just didn't It didn't fly right there. I wish it would have, because the new church was awesome. Another person that I got to reunite with after probably 18 years, or no. We did WrestleCon together. I don't remember what year that was, but it's been 10 or 15 for sure, I believe, at least 10. And I haven't heard from him in forever. It was Brian Lee, the Killdozer. Brian Lee, my partner in the Disciples of the New Church, along with James Mitchell, Father James Mitchell, and Belladonna, rest in peace. I loved what she added to our group. I don't know why they did not keep her with us, because she had an element about her that was cool. We won the belts off of America's Most Wanted, and I'm covered in blood, and I'm sitting on my butt selling after the 3 count. They hand me the belt. I got the belt. I'm, doing my slash shit, looking all crazy. And she comes in and squats down behind me and takes the blood off my forehead and starts wiping it all over her chest and stuff. That kind of stuff was cool. The lighting had already gone back to our music. After the 1, 2, 3, the lighting went down to the red and dark, and the music was playing and shit. It was just a classic fucking moment, man. But yeah, TNA was really, really awesome for the new church, and should have been better, like I said. All right, let's see here. Christopher Curtis Jones, who came up with the idea for the Cyberpunks. All right, so Chris Champion and I don't remember who came up with the name, but Chris Champion and I, back when I was like 17, he took me under his wing. He let me, like, if he'd do a show where he was Chris Champion and they were booking the Ninja Turtle, because he used to do that too, he'd let me wear the Ninja Turtle suit so he wouldn't have to work twice. And we just became friends, and he was into a lot of the same stuff I was, as far as like comic stuff. So me and him were gonna do it first. But what we were gonna do was a lot different than what it ended up being. How many ever years later? Probably about, well, actually it wouldn't have been that many years, probably 4 or 5 years later. So we were gonna create almost like Cyborg off DC Comics, kind of like a half face piece, helmety, cyborgy looking thing, with maybe one eye covered or something like that, out of foam and shit. We talked about it. We drew some things up, and the outfits were more of something along the lines of like Halo, the video game, something like that. But that's as far as we ever got with it, was talking about it. So when we go to, me and Jamie, when we go to Mexico in '94, had a lot of free time, and I'm a pretty good artist. And I'll do some of that. I've thought about that as far as an episode. We'll talk about art, and I can show it to you up there and all that stuff. So I drew, okay, let me go back here, because there was a guy in Mexico, they called him Transformer there. This son of a bitch would come out with fucking rockets on his shoulders, and fucking just every night he had a different outfit. Like, he didn't have like Rey Mysterio has different outfits, but they're pretty much all along the same lines as far as the designs on them, if that makes sense. This guy, he could look different every night, completely different, but his shit was fucking badass. And so anyway, I drew up these drawings, and fire would be me, and I just went with ice for him. I don't know, I just thought that the yin and the yang there. So I drew these costumes and went to the dude and said, "Here, can you make these?" Didn't speak a lot of English. He didn't measure us. And a few weeks later, he brings me these costumes, and they fit perfectly. And me and Jamie are 2 different sizes. So that's where that came from, is that. And then when we got back to the States, I told Randy, I said, we need to use these. And the Power Rangers were hot at that moment, and those suits were Power Ranger-y. So we did the Loser Leave Town thing, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how the Cyberpunks were born. And man, we killed it on gimmicks with those things. And like I said, the Power Rangers were so hot at the time. The kids, we'd do the pictures in the ring, Polaroids, the old Polaroid deal. Some of you are too young to remember a Polaroid camera. But we would do those right there in the middle of the ring. They'd take the pictures with us. And they'd be lined up, man. The kids loved it. The kids loved the Cyberpunks. Fire and ice. And thank you, Christopher. Let's see here. Now this one, Sydney Adams. A lot of tag teams are really close in real life. Sometimes even actual brothers. Were you and JC Ice actual close homies outside of the ring before, after being wrestlers? Well, we kind of just touched on that. Me and Jamie have been close. We both lived our dream together. We both made it to the mountaintop together. Without JC Ice, there probably wouldn't have been a Wolfie D. Without Wolfie D, there wouldn't have been a JC Ice at that level, let's say, because we were good together. We were good for each other. We played off of each other. Outside of the ring, however, we were homies for a while, but then, it's like a marriage. Things change. And, what I talked about earlier with him just, a few minutes ago, talking about the no-show stuff, yeah, we're just not alike anymore. He's 50 years old. 50-year-old men don't act like that. But we'll come back in a minute. Let's have a word from our sponsors, and I'll continue this.
Do you treat your dog as part of the family? Well, so do we. So why not celebrate your pup's birthday with the ultimate party box? Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Party Pup Info, and let us make your pup's party or any celebration perfection.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Tired of that same old breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Same old tasting scrambled eggs, burger, that dinner steak, ribs, or pork chops. Why not add a little bit of spice or just a touch of heat to make the difference? Change that scrambled egg with a little bit of Johnny Fabulous's John Cena Sr.'s $1 Million Jalapeno Hot Sauce. Great on burgers, steaks, chops, and those barbecued ribs.
All right, we're back. Continuing talking here. We're me and JC Ice homies. Yes, we were homies for a long time, but we've fought about 3 times. I smacked the shit out of him in the locker room one time because I invited him over for dinner. We all lived in the same apartment complex. Him and his girl, me and my wife, and my kid. Bobby Eaton lived there with a friend of ours, Donnie, and El Gypsy Joe lived there for a minute. Chris Michaels lived there. So it was a wrestler apartment. But anyway, before show, I said, hey, you and your girl want to come over for dinner? And he's like, yeah. Well, she cooked. My wife, she cooked. Made this nice meal and everything. And the fucker never showed up. And I see him at the building when I get there. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And it was some bullshit ass excuse. Oh, I just had to do, you don't fucking do shit like that to people. Just like the big event. You don't do shit like that to people. His word is no good. His word is horrible. So I fucking got pissed off. He was sitting down. And this, you gotta remember, this is after we had been in fights, probably 3 good fights. And I beat his brains out every time, which that's not bragging, it's not hard to do. But I just fucking smacked him. He was sitting down, I just smacked him. I didn't punch him, I smacked him. And he just sat there. He knew if he got up, it was gonna get worse. And I said, "You're a fucking bitch, dude." But so no, I think at this point, my relationship with him is really over. But you know, like I said, we went to the mountaintop together. I appreciate what we were, but like I said, like a marriage, it's divorce time. And if you're just that type of a person that doesn't give a fuck how many people you screw over or cost money, you don't fuck with people's money, man. That really makes people mad, you know? So Sydney, that's the answer to that part of that question. I know you've got a bunch of them here. What singles wrestler or tag team did you always want to work with but never got the chance? I would have loved to have worked with the Macho Man. I loved Randy Savage, and I believe I could have had a great match with him. The 4 people that I say, you know, maybe want to be a wrestler was Mr. Perfect, got to wrestle him, the Road Warriors, got to wrestle them, and Randy Savage. So the ones that made me want to do it, that's the only one that I didn't get a chance to. Oh, I can tell you a good story about Randy Savage. So we're working at Ole Miss, the college, and Randy and Lawler are the main event. And after the show, we go to this little, just a little dive bar. There's probably less than 10 people in there, and one of them was Randy. Well, we didn't go sit next to him and mark out. In those days, that was taboo. You didn't do that shit. You can go take a picture with him and shit. You didn't have a camera phone for one thing, but even if you did, it just wasn't the thing to do back then. So we sat across the bar from him. He sat at the bar, and we sat across the bar. And eventually he calls us over. So we go over there and we sit down. How you doing? How you doing? He said, "You know what? I watched your stuff and I like it." Wow, fuck, that's awesome, Randy. Thank you. I don't remember if I called him Randy or Mr. Savage or what, I don't know. But one of my heroes watched my shit and liked it. That was fucking awesome. So then he proceeds to say, "The only thing is you gotta get big." Because we were very small when we first started, very small. And so he says, "You'll wanna know how to get big." I don't know if my impersonation is good or not, but it's the best I got. So we think that he's fixing to come off with this moment. You know, he's fixing to tell us something that we just did not know, and where have we been? Under a fucking rock somewhere, right? And so we're waiting on, "Hey, you want to know how to get big?" Yeah. Smoke a lot of pot. That's exactly what he said. And so we popped, and that wasn't a problem at that point because we smoked a lot of pot all day long during those days. And I'd heard stories from Tony Falk used to ride with him a lot and would tell me that he would bring a paper sack with him and he'd have his smoke, his smears in the beers, and he would sit there on the way to town, roll one up, puff it, get munchies, eat, do over, and just that's what the Macho Man says on how to get big. So if anybody wants to know how to get big, that's it. Let's see here. This one, Cody Collins. I know you've walked through the curtain thousands of times, but what's the feeling of walking through the curtain at WrestleMania? Well, in a way, it's almost like every other show. When you do so many of them, it's like riding a bicycle. Nothing special, but at the same time, I understand what you're asking. I guess probably the main thing that was going through my mind was don't fuck up. You know, don't stumble and fall on the way to the ring, anything like that. I have had it happen, and I don't remember. I believe it was Raw. We're coming down the ramp rapping, and somebody from, you know, the side over here down on I was about halfway down the ramp. I mean, a whole beer in a cup, not a half, and not throwing the beer on me with keeping the cup. That motherfucker threw a full cup of beer at me. Wham! Bird knocked my fucking glasses sideways. So I'm fucking, it hurt. It looked like somebody punched me. And I'm sitting there, we are the nation, living in color. Don't diss the man who will rush your mother. So, yeah, that was effed up, buddy. But yeah, you're just thinking, man, don't fuck up. And man, here it is. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling, man. I made it. Look, Mom. So, let's see. Joey Jenkins. What's up, Joey? Your 4-star match you had with Sean. Okay, are we talking 4 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, son bitch? I hope that's 4 out of 4. Because it was. When he was the 1, 2, 3 kid. Sean Woman. Thoughts and memories of that match. Okay, so my thoughts and memories of that match, first of all, was it's not on tape anywhere. And I fucking, for years, have, that was such a good match and got such good reaction. There was a huge house because you had Kurt Hennig and Lawler on top at the Mid-South Coliseum, so it drew big. I think we were like 3rd match or something like that. And we went up there and tore that motherfucker down, man. We had the crowd doing the shit they do for Lawler, that woo, woo, when we were doing different moves and shit, and they were popping like crazy. And Joey, thank you. Like I said, that better be 4 out of 4, motherfucker, and not no 4 out of 5. So, Kurt Hennig watched that match. And Kurt Hennig, I was walking back down the hall, the long hallway there to where my dressing room was. And he goes it was almost like the Mean Joe Green commercial where he throws the kid the Pepsi, the shirt, or whatever the fuck it was. So he's way down the hallway at close to where you go to the ring at. He goes, hey kid. And I turned around, he said, great fucking bumps. And I was like, whoa. Kurt Hennig, who made his career out of fucking great goofy bumps, just said that to me. So that was man, that was a great feeling. I mean, that was awesome, you know. But I hope that answers your question, Joey. And Billy Wayne says, who are some of the stiffest workers you've went against? Some people will tell you it's me, because I do like to lay my stuff in, but safely. But I will tell you that the Eliminators are my all-time list of probably stiffest guys I've ever had to work with on a nightly basis, and that is torture. Perry especially, man. Those guys, great athletes, loved them both to death, and I still do. I haven't seen Perry in years. Great guy, great worker. I worked him in USWA. We went up and worked him in ECW, and then ended up working him again in TNA. And I say this more of Perry's 1994 PG-13 versus the Eliminators Memphis run, okay? They were beating the fuck out of us. I remember I did a spot, and I'm calling it, my dumb fucking ass, where each time I try to do something, I end up getting clotheslined by him, and then I go back to the corner and talk it over with my partner, and be frustrated and figure out what am I doing wrong here. But it always ended with the clothesline. The first one, right in the fucking throat. I remember Frank Moreno leaning over me. Whoopie? That's what he used to call me, Whoopie. Whoopie, you okay? So first time, second time, in the chin, and those are some big, strong arms coming at you. I mean, bicep right to the throat and chin, and then I think even the last time it was up around my face somewhere, but it was never here where it was supposed to be. But yeah, man, Perry, he was rough back then, but he was great. We all were. And a lot of guys have worked in the Road Warriors. I mean, but there's a difference in being snug and being stiff and dangerous. Snug and safe, stiff and dangerous. Those are two completely different things. So I like to think that I'm snug and safe. Like I said, there's a lot of people that are like that. I think some of the guys now are way too light. And then you got the ones that I'm strong style. I'm strong style. What the fuck is that? It just means you're fucking wanting to hit people extra hard that are gonna let you. That's dumb, real dumb. And your longevity and stuff like that is not gonna be there. Okay, so Chris Walker asked, in your eyes, who's the best tag team of all time? The fucking Road Warriors, man. The fucking Road Warriors. Next to the New Church and PG-13. Kidding. Road Warriors all the way, man. They were the trendsetters. They were the trendsetters, man. They, you know, hey, going back to what I was saying earlier, and my memory's bad. I don't think I said this when I was talking about, you know, me and John Cena thing. I fucking hated Demolition when I was a kid. I fucking hated them because they were Road Warrior ripoffs. Vince couldn't have the Road Warriors, so he made his own Road Warriors. I didn't like it. You know, I respect them now, being in the business and all that. And as guys, just the same as I respect John Cena as a guy. The truth's the truth. Demolition is Road Warrior ripoffs, but yes, the greatest tag team of all time is the Road Warriors, 100%, and awesome fucking guys too. Me and Jamie went to a bar with them, and again, it was a dive bar. I don't always end up in these dive bars. We go to it with Hawk and Animal, just us four, and for whatever reason, Jamie didn't drink that night. Animal didn't. Me and Hawk got lit the fuck up, and we're sitting at the bar on stools, and I think, yeah, because we started out at a booth, so them two were behind us at a booth, and Jamie and Animal. So me and Hawk were sitting on stools up at the bar, ordered shots, and I got to telling him, man, you're the reason I wanted to be a wrestler, man. I just, oh, Wolfie, that means so much to me. And he's fucking hugging on me. We were sitting there literally hugging each other. And like, I don't remember if we were actually crying, but it was like we were, oh God, thank you so much. If you could see that picture, okay? And fucking Animal tells Jamie, he says, you know, he sees what's going on here. And he says to Jamie, he says, you get the little one, I'll get the big one. Let's get out of here. So they swooped us away and took us to their hotel. All right, let's see. Steve Thomas. As someone who's been there for both the WWE and TNA runs, I have to know which is better run for you from a standpoint as worker. Well, that's pretty simple. I know you had more mainstream stories with Vince, but I feel that James Mitchell and the Disciples in TNA, you had, if it makes sense, more exposure as a wrestler. Yes, I would 100% agree with you. I mean, that's why when people ask me, you know, was being in WWE best thing ever? I mean, yes, of course, but I mean, I had one. I mean, I'm talking about my Nation time, not when we went up and worked the Smoking Guns, and not when I came back a few times as Slash and was this close to getting signed, and I fucked that up, quite frankly. But no, we were, even though we got involved in matches and took bumps and all that shit, we were really just sidekicks. And, you know, we were not even gonna be named. You know, everybody, I don't remember when they started calling D-Lo when he was in it, but everybody was just sidekicks. But when I wrote the Nation rap, I made sure to put our names in it. Spitting out the rhymes of JC and Wolfie D. Every single fucking night, the people heard what my name was and what his name was. So that was done intentionally. And Jamie and I were always looking for that red light. And what that means is when the red light comes on the cameraman's camera, that's the one that's on. That's the one they're using right then for the shot. I always found that fucking red light. So did Jamie. So we made sure that we stood out more than any of those other people that were around him, not excluding Savio and Crush. But as far as the entourage, we made sure that we became what we were. We're going to take a break, another word from our sponsors, and we'll continue.
Hi, it's John from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to UnderTheTableHotSauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. UnderTheTableHotSauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn. And Nitros Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitros Garage. Ask for Jack. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles.
All right, we're back. We're gonna wrap this up here pretty shortly. Hold on, I think you guys deserve the booty bell. Diamond sparkles. I'm gonna plug some of my merchandise and some of the places that you can find me. As we wrap this up pretty soon here. Well, we've got a wardrobe change. Can I have some more water, please, ma'am?
How thirsty are you?
I'm so thirsty right now. You make me thirsty. Is there a match about to break out?
I don't know. You got a bell ring?
Yes, I do have a bell ring. I also have some other objects that I can spank you with. Love you, dear. Thank you. All right, so I want to show you guys. If you go to Pro Wrestling Tees and go to my podcast store, okay? Go under podcast stores, Live and in Color with Wolfie D. That's my audio podcast, and I'm still going to continue doing that along with this. So if you go to there, there's two other shirts on there besides that one. One has the logo for the other podcast. It is strictly audio, and the other shirt has a hubcap with PG-13 on it, and it says "Don't diss the man or bum rush your mother." Go check those out for me. Like I said, Facebook is Wolfie D. Like I said, there's two of them. One of them's old, and I can't get into it, so. Go check that out, like it for me, share it for me. The Live and in Color with Wolfie D page is on Facebook also, like and share. What else? I think that's most of the stuff that I wanted to tell you about. I'm sure as we go along with this, there'll be more. If you want to order 8x10s, I got a shit ton of 8x10s that I've just recently gotten, a lot of them. So those are on the Wolfie D page. Most anything you need is going to be on there, and I can direct you if I have to go somewhere else to get whatever it may be. As I said, the pint size All Stars are coming, which should be damn cool. And that's really about all the plugs I got. Thank you, Monty and the Pharaoh, for this opportunity. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first episode. And like I said, we're going to do more. I got some thinking to do on how I want to do more, and you guys can help me with that. I'll take your suggestions. I may not do all of them. Hell, I may not do any of them. But I'd like to hear them. I want your feedback, and please give that to me on the Facebook page, Wolfie D. Please, that's just going to be the easiest place for me. I don't like Twitter. Twitter's dumb to me. I don't like it. I got Instagram at WarrenWolf13. So check that stuff out, man. I'm excited, and I'm going to end it with this. It's to the P to the G plus the 1 and the 3. Fuck JC Ice, I'm Wolfie D. I ain't playing no games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. See you next week on Wednesdays with Wolfie D.